Outputting our coverage. It's what we do.
That's all we do every Thursday
At 5:30. College football.
College football.
Mountain West Conference.
Doesn't matter.
SEC
Is all that matters.
Nick Saban
Is crazy.
Yeah.
And that's all. Let's start the show.
And good evening / good afternoon / good morning, potential listeners.
Depending on where you are, it could be any of the above, or maybe all three.
Yes, depending on where you are in the space-time continuum. Myself and David, we're right here in the official Outputting Our Coverage headquarters / specially designed radio studio.
Right.
This we
has
have.
been a nerdy opening. I'm loving
Unlike last week, where we were not at our normal recording place, there were several distractions.
Well, we tried out a live studio audience, and we just decided it's not going to work for us
It turns out we just don't like people.
at all, or
Yeah.
even some animals.
I think you learned that when you went to your concert a couple of weeks ago.
Right. I'm just
You learned you're not a people person.
just so many people.
Yeah. People. Three things I don't do: people, parking, and people.
Parades.
And parades.
Right.
Yes.
All Ps.
The 3 Ps. That's the things I don't like. So maybe we'll talk about those someday. Today we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And basically all of it is relating to bowl games. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are over 750 bowl games now.
Yeah. More teams than exist are eligible for bowls.
Yes.
Pretty fascinating
and
time.
Still Auburn could not find their way into a bowl. It's
Right.
just baffling with all of these bowl games that are out there. And really the interesting thing about it is, once we go through all these bowls, which we're going to do, by the way, it's going to be a rip-roaring good time as we do this.
I've got to say, in doing the research for this, you know how I feel about this. I think I made it pretty clear last week. I think the bowl games this year are terrible. The matchups
They're
are
awful.
Although, through doing the research, I think more of them are watchable than what I thought. I think
Yeah.
I uncovered a couple of neat little things that will be pretty interesting to watch if you have nothing better to do.
Yeah, the storylines are buried a little bit deeper this year. But they're there. I mean, you got to look a little bit harder for them.
I don't know. There's a couple of them where I said, I'm not wasting my time with this.
Yeah. Well, one caveat, something that will make these bowl games much more interesting to you is if you sign up for the official Outputting Our Coverage Bowl Challenge.
Right.
Brought to you by the Kraft Beef O'Brady's, Idaho Potato, and other smaller bowls on the agenda.
Sponsors.
Yes, official sponsors of the Outputting Our Coverage Bowl Challenge.
Could not get anybody to sponsor the Outputting Our Coverage bowl drinking game.
No.
apparently
It turns out that the FCC a little bit weird about all that kind of stuff, so couldn't quite make that one happen. But make sure you go sign up on that one. It's on our favorite website, Fun Office Pools, which is basically the internet equivalent of 1990s Tecmo Bowl.
Definitely. Well, you can also find it at Twitter. We're at Output Our Cover. You can also find what we have to think about the bowls at our blog.
Yes, at outputtingourcoverage.wordpress.com. So be looking out for that. We also have a Facebook fan page. Just search for Outputting Our Coverage. You can find that.
We are just so connected to the people
yes.
that apparently listen to the show.
Yes, we are all over the place. We're going to take a real quick break here, and when we come back, starting from the very top, the games start this Saturday, the 15th. So if you haven't signed up yet, or if you have signed up, make sure to get your picks in. It's starting soon. But we will start with those bowls right here on the other side of Outputting Our Coverage. That song pretty well sums up how I feel about the bowl season.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It gets no more beautiful than the New Mexico Bowl, starting this Saturday.
It gets a little more beautiful. Don't depress
I'm not
us.
sure. I mean, a matchup between possibly the two best teams in the country this year, Nevada and Arizona.
No.
Just if you only looked at states named Nevada and Arizona, the two best teams.
Okay, probably.
Yeah. See,
All right.
you got that going for you.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts?
I really like Nevada and what they've been able to do. They've got some really close losses. They lost to South Florida by 1 and San Diego State by 1. They only lost to Boise State by 6. On the other side of the ball, you had Arizona. Man, they are just bipolar. I mean, they win by a lot and they lose by a lot.
Hey,
So
it's the Rich Rod scenario. That's what you get with Rich Rod. Ever since he left West Virginia, he has not been able to sustain the success. Obviously, had some issues at Michigan. I think he'll get Arizona better, but they're not a great team yet.
just not this year. One of their biggest problems is that they have a Pac-12 defense.
Yes, they do.
I mean, their defense ranks 116th out of 120 teams, so they're pretty terrible. Nevada has a rusher who has 1,700 yards rushing and 22 touchdowns already, so they're still keeping that pistol formation going. I actually probably think that I like Nevada in this one over Arizona, but you never really know, it being the first bowl game.
Yeah, I think you could probably make a case and say that Arizona's losses are a little bit better. Arizona losing to Oregon State, Stanford, and UCLA. Not any terrible teams in there. Nevada,
Right.
They lost to Air Force at 6-6. They also lost to San Diego State, Fresno State, South Florida at 3-9. That
Right,
kind of
South
sticks
Florida,
out to
that's
you.
a bad one.
So I'm gonna go the other direction, Arizona, in
All
this
right.
one. So I know,
You can go either way on that one.
yeah, it's close. Lines 10.5 on that one in
Right.
favor of Arizona. That seems a little bit much to me, but we'll see how that one goes. So that gets you started off in the bowl season. And if you haven't had enough after that, then you can go ahead and eat some potatoes as well.
Right,
And-
the Potato Bowl, very filling.
yeah.
I actually found this one of the meatiest matchups in the
Oh.
in the lower bowls. This is actually pretty interesting when you get to looking at it. Toledo's only 21 points away from being undefeated this year. I mean, they only lost by 7 to Arizona in the first week of the season in overtime. They lost to Ball State by 7, and then they lost to Northern Illinois by 7, who is now playing Florida State in a BCS game. So Toledo's really interesting. Utah State. Now, here's something that's crazy. If I were to tell you that Utah State's defense technically ranks up above Vandy, Stanford, and Georgia, would you believe that?
I would believe you because I'm pretty sure you looked it up.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah,
but
it is
they've-
surprising.
They've
Yeah.
only given up 20 touchdowns all year, so it's going to be really neat to see these two teams play. Toledo, kind of the offensive minded team, and Utah State really winning it with defense.
Yeah, certainly. You can look at this kind of the same way as the New Mexico Bowl, because a lot of people are going to base their bowl game standards off of the New Mexico Bowl.
Of course.
Just seeing how that one goes. Kind of the same story. Utah State's. You can make a case that there are 2 losses. Okay, to Wisconsin. Yeah, I mean, if you're a team like Utah
They're going-
State, losing to Wisconsin, not so bad.
Hey, Wisconsin's going to
Yeah,
the
they're
Rose
going to
Bowl,
the Rose Bowl.
and they lost
With-
by 2.
That's true. So very close in that one. They also lost to a 7-5 BYU team, 6-3. And
Slippery Mormons.
yes, they do that. You mentioned Toledo's loss is very close as well, but I really like that stat you threw out there, only allowing 20 touchdowns. I'm going to go with the defensive team here, Utah State. for
Yeah,
me.
I'm also going the Aggies of Utah State.
Okay, moving right along to the first of 2 bowls in San Diego. This one is the Poinsettia Bowl or Poinsettia Bowl. Both pronunciations are correct, and I can guarantee you that they will tell you that on the Poinsettia Bowl broadcast.
Over under on 3 times that they say that.
I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go way
Because
over.
what else do they have to talk about?
I don't know. Mormons?
The Mormons, once again, making an appearance here in this bowl. BYU and a 9-3 San Diego State team, not to be confused with San Jose State, who will also make an appearance in the bowl pick'em.
Just to make everybody confused.
Right.
I think that's the only reason they're there.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned last week on our We Pick the Bowls segment that we would have San Jose State and San Diego State play each other.
Just duke it
for
out.
San Blank State superiority.
Right, and one of them would just have to drop the name.
Yes. So, an interesting thing in this one, San Diego State kind of has a home field advantage, if you will.
That's true.
It's in San Diego, although not really sure how many diehard San Diego State fans there are.
I don't think there's a ton.
So probably not a big advantage. In fact, I almost wouldn't be surprised. This is probably a better question. We should pick who will have more fans at the game, BYU or San Diego State.
What about not affiliated with either team?
Okay, also an option, but not my question.
Okay, I think San Diego State will still have more
Really?
fans.
BYU, they travel pretty well. I think it could be interesting. That might be more interesting to watch than the game. San Diego, if you look at this one, it's probably a matchup of San Diego State running the ball versus BYU's rush defense.
Right, and BYU, another one that'll kind of stun you there. Technically, if you look by yards allowed during the season, they're the third-ranked defense in the country.
Behind Stanford, I'm sure.
No. It's Alabama and Florida State are 1
Really?
and 2. So,
interesting.
BYU, but they've given up about 22 touchdowns this year. They're just terrible on offense. I mean, they've got a quarterback he's hit 2,000 yards, but only 13 touchdowns. Their running back, their leading rusher's only got 744 yards all year. They can't score points, but I think their defense will keep them in the game, but I just don't think they can keep up with the scoring from a team in San Diego State who already beat Boise. So,
yeah, BYU has run into some turnover issues, 3 interceptions versus Boise State, 3 interceptions versus Oregon State, 2 interceptions against Notre Dame, and a lot of their higher-profile games this year. Their stats on offense don't look so bad, but like you said, when you factor in turnovers, they haven't been able to generate the points, haven't been able to get it done. I don't know if that'll be such an issue against a team like San Diego State, not exactly renowned as a defensive team, if you will. Although you got to make a case for San Diego State this year. Their only losses coming to San Jose State, Fresno State, and Washington. That's a little bit puzzling, but that was the first game of the season.
It was.
So you got to give them some credit for that one.
Washington snuck up and surprised a couple people this year, like Stanford.
Yeah, and you know, I hate to say this, but I give San Diego State a little bit of credibility for beating Boise State.
That's true,
yeah. I think that is a pretty legitimate win for them.
Fresno State's been blowing people out this year. They're a good 9-3 team.
Yeah, so losing to them, not such a bad thing. Still, though, I just gut feeling on this one, I'm going with the Mormons.
All right, go with them.
I'm going to do it.
Just if it brings you peace, just go through with it.
Did you give us your pick on this one?
Yeah, San Diego State. I think I'm going to go with San Diego.
Okay. I did. You probably said that, but I just zoned out because I was so excited about thinking about who would have more fans at this game. That's what I'm going to be watching this one for. Okay, let's move on to the well-known Beef O'Brady's Bowl.
Of course, everybody knows that one.
Have you ever been to a Beef O'Brady's?
I have not been to a Beef O'Brady's.
They're okay.
What is it?
It's I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It's like one step up from a bar, I guess. It's like a restaurant, but they have a heavy emphasis on a bar-type atmosphere. Maybe one step up from a bar, one step below a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
Sort of bridging the gap.
I got
there.
you.
Food, not that great, but it's cheap and it's doable.
Okay.
And that's kind of like this game.
Cheap and doable.
Yeah. Ball State and Central Florida. This game, of course, being played in St. Petersburg in the Tampa area. So maybe UCF has a little bit of an advantage there, fan-wise.
Yeah, I think they've got a lot more fans coming out to that game.
So prominent Ball State alum that perhaps will make an appearance, David Letterman. You never know.
Probably not.
Probably not. That's pretty much all I know about Ball State, though.
They've got a quarterback who's pretty good, 2,800 yards, 22 touchdowns. They've got a pretty good rushing attack to go with it with about 1,300 yards. They just haven't really played anybody. They only lost to Kent State by 2, who played in their championship game. They also lost to NIU by 12, who's going to be playing Florida State again. But really haven't played anybody. They got a win against Toledo, who we talked about is a pretty good team. They're up and down. They've got some weird losses on the schedule. UCF is also a mystery. I mean, they lose to Missouri, which was a weird one. They only beat Southern Miss by 7 points in overtime, and Southern Miss, didn't have any wins.
Nope.
So both these teams a little hard to figure out. I just think Central Florida, maybe the more stable of the two teams, going to have the fan support behind it. I'll probably take Central Florida in this one.
I think I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to
Okay.
take the Ball State Fighting Football Cardinals. Couple things that stand out to me. When you're a team that can put up 250 rushing yards against Clemson, 357 rushing yards against a very good Ohio Bobcat team this
Right.
year, they've been putting up huge rushing numbers all season. I'm pretty much a sucker for that, as we all know.
That's true.
So
only put up 112 yards against Kent State.
That's true. But Kent State, a pretty good team.
They are
a better team than UCF.
Maybe. Now, let me ask you this question: are you picking them because you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan? Does that have anything to do with it?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, maybe subconsciously. I like UCF. I lived down in Florida for a while. Knew some people who went to UCF. They're good folks. It's a cool place, I guess. But just one of those. You got to pick a side here.
That's true.
And we might as well go different ways as much as we can.
We might
so
as well.
I can just beat you into submission in this.
That's true. It's also worth mentioning that if you were part of our Pick 10 during the season, we have started over. So there's no more gap between anybody. We all start in the same spot.
That's right. So this is it's kind of like everybody made it into the playoffs, and that's just kind of how it goes. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break here to let you digest all of the awesomeness we just threw at you. Still plenty of bowls to go through.
Tons of bowls to go through.
So we will be right back and continue that here on Outputting Our Coverage. Okay, folks, we are back here on Outputting Our Coverage. Still plenty of bowl games to go through. We're about to go Gus Malzahn style. Hurry up, no huddle. Got a lot of these not so great ones. Let's rip through these just like Gus Malzahn is going to rip through opposing defenses next year.
We will rip through these, but at a better pace than that.
Okay. All right. First up, the R&L Carriers Bowl in New Orleans.
Yeah, East Carolina's terrible. They're one of those teams that I didn't even really spend a lot of time on. They won in double overtime against Marshall, and then when the competition got up there, they just crumbled. So I'm going to take whoever Eastern Carolina is playing because they're terrible. So I'm going to take Louisiana Lafayette.
Okay, I think I'm going the same direction in this one. Just the same thing I said about Ball State. When I see some gaudy rushing numbers, I get excited. When I see bad rushing numbers, I immediately distrust that team. 61 rushing yards for East Carolina against a 4-8 Memphis team. 65 rushing yards against an 0-12 Southern Miss.
Yeah, they air it out. They throw the ball about 55 times a game.
Well, when you're airing it out and only getting 170 yards against Southern Miss, that's also a problem.
I agree.
So not a lot to speak of offensively for East Carolina. I like Mark Hudspeth at Louisiana Lafayette, former guy at UNA.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's probably, in the coming years, he can be a big name, so watch out for him in coaching circles. He picks up a victory here. No question. Okay, let's move on to the Mako Las Vegas Bowl.
All right.
This one actually between two real teams.
Right.
Boise State reaching real team status a couple of years ago.
They did.
There are one of the participants, the other team, a somewhat disappointing Washington Husky team this year.
They are. A lot of people had big expectations for them, and they had some big games. I mean, they upset Stanford. They lost to USC, which kind of hurts. They got destroyed by Arizona, 52-17, and then they just come right back and win against a good Oregon State team. So really up and down. You never know who's going to be there. Boise State pretty consistent during the year. They beat the teams they were supposed to. They lost to a pretty good San Diego State team. They lost early in the year to a Michigan State team. I still think Boise State's probably the better team. I'm gonna stick with the Broncos.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. Boise State superior statistically across the board, but more importantly, superior in physicality. That's one thing that Boise State is starting to rightly get some respect for. They do play a very physical brand of football. Finding a lot of these diamond in the rough guys that really just want to get in there and get nasty. Washington almost more of a, I don't want to say finesse, but they got a lot of...
They're a pro-style offense.
Yeah, and they got a lot of USC influence in there with Steve Sarkisian, their head coach. And the USC thing is great when you have top-notch playmakers, but when you don't, it doesn't work quite as well.
It doesn't. And, you know, what a lot of people did not talk about when Boise State was on their roll is that they actually had a pretty good defense for all those years.
Absolutely.
They've got another one coming in today. They're ranked 9th nationally in defense, so I think they pretty much stuff whatever Washington tries.
All right, so we're taking the Fighting Blue Smurfs in that game. let's move on to a bowl game that I wish the SEC had a tie-in for. Can't say that about most of these. The Hawaii Bowl.
Oh, yeah, that would be pretty nice.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. What did you think I was going to say? The Little Caesars Bowl?
I wasn't sure what you were talking about. Maybe Nashville.
Hawaii Bowl, Fresno State, and a woeful 6-6 Southern Methodist team. To me, there's no question in this one.
Right, we can pretty much skip this one. SMU's terrible.
How did they get into a bowl game?
They've got 6 wins, and enough of the big conferences didn't have enough teams to qualify. A lot of BCS contenders, not enough people qualifying for some of these other bowls. But Fresno State's actually a pretty good team. 9-3, really pretty respectable losses. Driven by the quarterback Derek Carr, who's brother of David Carr. Who
that's
came
a big Fresno State name.
He is, who is now in some kind of shock that does not allow him to throw a football because of the offensive line he threw behind. But really putting up some big numbers. Fresno State probably going to rip SMU, who isn't even really scoring that much. When we think about SMU and June Jones, you typically think about tons of yards, a lot of passing. Really not doing it this year.
I don't think June Jones survives a whole lot longer at SMU. You may remember a name, Garrett Gilbert, former Texas quarterback, came into the national championship game when they played Alabama. Right. He is now at SMU. He's the quarterback. Has been sucking it up there, too, pretty much. Yeah. So, no chance for SMU. Auburn fans, add Southern Methodist to the list of your teams that you should be really mad at for getting in a bowl when Auburn cannot make it in. So,
or somebody else who might have deserved it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that Auburn fans should be upset that they were not good enough to beat out a 6-6. I'm not saying that Auburn deserved to be, but you should be upset when a 6-6 team like Southern Methodist is better than you and is getting a bowl.
You should definitely be upset about that. It is terrible.
Okay, let's move on before I get too angry. The Little Caesars Pizza Bowl in Detroit. Right. I hope it only takes 5 minutes.
Yes.
It is hot and ready. It is ready. We may even get a Bobby Petrino sighting in this bowl.
Hey,
Western Kentucky.
Probably not.
Did we talk about the Petrino signing?
I don't think we
did. We should spend a second to talk about Bobby Petrino. We knew it was going to happen. We knew somebody would pick him up. Honestly, I was very surprised that he fell to this low of a team.
See, we talked about it. I thought he might even have to go to Division II, but he came to a Division I team. He's only been a Division I team for about 2 years, so it's about right.
Yeah.
He's got to let his past get forgotten by a bunch of wins. So I think
it's going to happen.
He's at a good place for it.
It's going to happen. It's in the same conference, the Sun Belt, with Arkansas State, where Gus Malzahn was. A couple of other teams that may be able to compete for it, but really, with Bobby Petrino there, he's almost guaranteed to win that conference in his first or second year.
I don't know about guaranteed, but I think he's got a really good shot.
I mean, the guy who was at Western Kentucky before, Willie Taggart, who has taken the USF job, excellent coach.
Very good
Got
coach.
Some great players in there, some building blocks for Petrino to come in, and I think he's going to dominate with them. But I don't believe Petrino is coaching in this game. I don't think he's coaching the bowl game.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So it's probably an interim. But I'm sure he'll probably be there. You'll probably get an awkward halftime interview maybe with him up in the booth. It's worth watching just for that. Western Kentucky at 7-5 will be taking on one of the directional Michigans, although I don't know if you can call Central
direction. They're the Chippewas.
Yes, so Central Michigan, of course, all of our listeners very familiar with what they've done this season, right, David?
Of course, they're terrible, and they barely skated into the bowl season, and they're the reason that we shouldn't have a bowl system like this.
Yes.
They had a 1-point win against a bad Iowa team. They beat Akron and Eastern Michigan, Miami of Ohio, and Massachusetts.
Who's 1-11.
Right, yeah.
What a terrible resume.
Yeah, so that's all they've got. That's really it. They lost to Northern Illinois 55-24. Western Kentucky is not even a question.
No question.
It doesn't matter who's coaching.
No question. Western Kentucky, superior talent. Kudos to them, building up that program pretty quickly.
Yeah, go Hilltoppers.
Yeah, go Hilltoppers.
They were pretty good in D2.
Yeah, they have been a solid program, now taking it to the next level. We're taking it to the next level with the Military Bowl in Washington, D.C. 2 days after Christmas now. We are progressing along nicely in the bowl season. One of the other San Blanc states, this one San Jose State,
right,
playing the Bowling Green Falcons, maybe? What are they? What are the Bowling Greens?
Owls, Falcons, something like that.
Something. Yes,
Yeah.
we don't know what Bowling Green's mascot is. We do know that they are 8-4, and San Jose State 10-2, ranked number 24 in the country.
What do you think about this matchup?
I'm looking at Bowling Green and really only seeing one what I would consider bad loss, and it's interesting to say it this way, but it's Virginia Tech at
Right.
6-6. Virginia Tech having a rough year. Things just haven't gone their way. Other losses for Bowling Green to Toledo, 9-3. We've talked about them. They lost to Florida at the beginning of the season, not looking too bad. And to Kent State, that doesn't
Right.
look too bad either.
Not a bad loss.
You look at Bowling Green, you see that they've put up some pretty solid defensive numbers comparatively. They're not world beaters or anything, but they're certainly respectable in that department. And then when you looked at San Jose State and you look into it a little bit deeper, sure, they're 10-2, number 24 in the country, but they have played an atrocious schedule.
They have played a bad schedule. They are throwing up some numbers, though. Their quarterback's thrown for almost 4,000 yards and 31 touchdowns. Of course, they don't run as much, but they love to air it out, which I know you're going to hate, and you're not going to pick San Jose State. Bowling Green actually is a top 10 ranked defense. I've only given up 22 touchdowns all year, given up less than 280 yards a game. I'm always going defense, so I'm going to go with the confirmed Bowling Green Falcons.
Okay, see, that's what I thought. Let me read some of the records of teams that San Jose State has beat here. UC Davis, which is not a Division I school, they beat them. They beat Colorado State at 4-8. They did beat San Diego State at 9-3.
It's pretty impressive,
So you
but
give them that
it's
one.
a crosstown rivalry.
Right. They beat Navy at 7-4. They beat Texas San Antonio, also a Division II school. Texas State they beat at 4-8. They beat Idaho, who was 1-11. They beat New Mexico State at 1-11. They beat BYU at 7-5, and they also beat Louisiana Tech.
So they've
at
got
9-3.
3 good wins.
Three okay wins.
La Tech is a good win.
Yeah, that's a
San
good
Diego State's a good win. BYU, I would say, is that's a pretty good win.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look at that rushing when they beat BYU, 25 yards.
Yeah, that worries me.
Yeah, right.
You know that worries
I
me.
do.
And that's why I'm going with defense like you, Bowling Green. The Fighting Falcons. We will take them in this one. I think we're going to take another quick break here. Got a lot more bowl games to rocket through.
So many more bowl games.
We are going to take it to a whole nother level here on the other side. Just wait on outputting our coverage. Okay, folks, we are back. More bowl games. They just keep coming. Let's move on to the Belk Bowl in Charlotte, Cincinnati, and a Duke team at 6-6 that is just happy to be there.
They are. Duke probably shouldn't have gotten into a bowl. They've lost 5 out of their last 6 games. They won 1 in that stretch that got them in. So I really like Cincinnati. They were good enough that somebody wanted their coach. I mean,
Yep.
that's got to account for something. Good offensive production, a defense that holds them when they need it. They're decent, so I'm going to take Cincinnati. They're more of a complete team than Duke.
Yeah, Duke, like I said, they're just happy to be there. First time since 1995 they've been in a bowl game. That's a long time.
Yeah, congratulations, Duke.
Yeah, so
but I think
good
they're
job on that one.
about to get destroyed.
You'll probably get an awkward halftime Tommy Tuberville interview at this one.
Right.
So that could be fun. That's pretty much it, though. Cincinnati wins this one in a landslide. Lots of points for them.
Enjoy the goodie bag, Duke.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the Holiday Bowl. Another game being played in San Diego. Baylor and UCLA. This is a good matchup.
I think so. I think
Great matchup.
there could be 6,000 points scored in this game. Baylor is putting up all kinds of offensive numbers. Their defense is terrible. They're 119th out of 120 in defense. They don't care. They're not out to play defense. They are an offense-only team. UCLA has a better defense by a little bit. They're still letting up 409 yards a game anyway. Their offense is pretty impressive after Mora came in and put in that pistol. So really a dual-threat offense. I think it comes down to which defense can hold for one possession.
Yep.
And I'm going to put my money on UCLA.
Yeah, to me, UCLA would be a slam dunk if not for their loss to Cal, team that went 3-9 this year. That one's a little bit puzzling. And they didn't just lose. They got destroyed.
They did. It was
43-17. That one's a little bit rough. 4 picks for UCLA in that game. But despite that, I just got a gut feeling here. UCLA, they're going to take it. It's gonna be close. A lot of points. But UCLA, a little bit of a home advantage closer.
I mean, do you see something like a West Virginia Baylor earlier in the year? One of those 70-63.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be crazy.
I hope it is.
They're a very fun game to watch. Definitely want to mark that one down. The 27th of December is when that one will be on.
Speaking of fun games to watch.
Speaking of fun games to watch, which one are you speaking of? Ohio and Louisiana Monroe.
Man.
Oh yeah, that was at the top of my list. It's the most fun place to watch a game too.
It is.
Shreveport.
Shreveport is the best.
Normally, an SEC team would have to suffer through going to Shreveport,
Right.
but I guess we didn't have enough good teams to fill it this year.
Thank God.
So the Independence Bowl is stuck with 8-4 Ohio and 8-4 Louisiana Monroe. The key thing you need to know about this one, Colton Browning is back for Louisiana Monroe.
For me, that's about all I need to know.
Yep.
He's got some magic in his shoes. He can get around, just avoid the rush, get the pass off. They're so much better when he's in the game. Ohio looked like world beaters starting the season, won a big game against Penn State, went on like a 7-game winning streak. They have really hit a slide coming into the bowl season. They've lost 4 out of the last 5 games. I don't think they can recover. I think the Warhawks strike again. They'll probably do pretty well.
Absolutely. Not betting against Louisiana Monroe after what I saw out of them against Arkansas and against Auburn. I think they are a superior team. Going to take them here in this one. Let's move on to the bowl formerly known as the Champ Sports Bowl, formerly known as the Citrus Bowl, now known as the Russell Athletic Bowl.
I don't know how you keep up with all that.
In Orlando. It's tough. I spend a lot of time at night just going over
memorizing
these things.
it.
It's very tough. Virginia Tech, we mentioned them earlier, 6-6. They're in this game playing Rutgers at 9-3. Kind of an under-the-radar good team this year.
They are. I think Virginia Tech's quarterback, Thomas, everybody expected him to be a huge quarterback, do great things, kind of a Tim Tebow, running and passing the ball. Got really good size. Just hasn't been that. 52% completion rating, 17 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Rutgers has been on a little bit of a slide, only a 2 or 3 game skid. A close loss to Louisville in the championship game. Lost to Pittsburgh coming in. But I think they've got a team with more talent. I think Rutgers probably wins.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rutgers as well. Virginia Tech, they just haven't been able to get it together. I think it's more of a mental thing for them this year. And honestly, how excited is Virginia Tech going to be in this whatever bowl?
I don't think the Hokies will be very excited.
Not that Rutgers will be that excited either, but hey, whatever. Got to go on something. Taking Rutgers in that one. The Meineke Car Care Bowl.
My favorite.
In Houston. Minnesota, 6-6. A Tommy Tuberville-less Texas Tech at 7-5.
Yeah. Let's just break it down here and we can move on. Minnesota has the most unimpressive list of victories of any team here. Mm-hmm. A triple overtime win against UNLV, New Hampshire, Western Michigan, Syracuse, Purdue, and Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You should not be in a bowl game.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. I don't think Minnesota is going to be able to stop Texas Tech's passing attack.
No.
That's just kind of all there is to it. Despite the fact that Texas Tech, a little bit of disarray this right now, although today they did hire one of their former great quarterbacks, Cliff Kingsbury, who was the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M this year. Obviously had a lot of success there. I think that's going to be a great hire for them in the long run, but he will not be coaching in this game. Doesn't matter. They're still going to put up a lot of yards. Texas Tech had a pretty good defense to start the year till they played some real teams.
Right.
Then it kind of went down, but I think they're still definitely talented enough to beat Minnesota.
Yeah, Golden Gophers just enjoy the goodie bag. Yeah,
stop playing football. Just stop it.
Right. You built an outdoor stadium in Minnesota. This is what you get.
That was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another military-themed bowl, the Armed Forces Bowl. This one is in Fort Worth, Texas. Once again, a terrible team in this one. Rice at 6-6, playing a 6-6 Air Force team. Seems like Air Force might have a little bit of an unfair advantage getting into this bowl just because of the name.
Well, yeah, but even more than that, Air Force has a better defense. Rice hasn't beaten anybody worth mentioning. Air Force will win this one. Rice has a terrible defense. They can't stop the option.
The most surprising thing to me about this game is that the line is only 1.5 in favor of Air Force. If I was a betting person, I would be taking that all day to the bank.
Yeah, we don't condone that.
No,
but
we don't.
We would spend so much money on that game.
Yeah, I mean, you got the triple option against a team that hasn't seen that this year, number one. Number two, they're terrible.
They are.
Air Force going to win this one big.
Yes.
No questions asked. All right, let's move on to an intriguing bowl, in my opinion, the Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Yankee Stadium. You got West Virginia there, some offensive firework potential. But then you kind of got a hometown team a little bit. Syracuse playing in this one. A Syracuse team that at one point I believe I called the best 5-4-8 or something team in the country. And I maintain that they're still a good team.
Are they the best 7-5 team in the country?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Probably not.
They
Because
still got enough.
I think the 7-5 team that they're playing is better than them.
They might be. I'm actually taking Syracuse. They've been more consistent. Western Virginia really, hit it hard 2 months ago. They were a lock for the national championship, lock for the Heisman winner, and then all of a sudden they couldn't score more than 14 points, and they've kind of hit their stride back towards the end of the year. Geno Smith has 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive, but Syracuse has been more consistent. They've got a pretty good defense. They're balanced on offense. I'm going to take the orange.
But see, you don't remember what West Virginia does in bowl games. Don't you remember the game against Clemson last year?
I do remember the game against Clemson.
But it's craziness.
Yeah, different team, different concept.
I'm seeing lots of yards from West Virginia in this one. I think they will win handily.
All right.
So we will see if that prediction comes true. Oh, my favorite bowl is next. Here it is, the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl.
Yes.
Not only a bowl, but a political statement. Because if you watch it, you're fighting hunger, David. You're fighting hunger.
That's a good thing.
Doesn't it feel good? Because it's much better than actually watching the game. Navy and Arizona State.
Right. Neither one of them are very good. This is not the Sun Devil team that we're used to seeing. That's just chucking up yards. Only got about 2,700 yards passing, only 1,000 yards rushing. You're used to seeing more like 6,000 total yards of offense. Arizona State, who has relied on the offense for so many years, just doesn't have it. Navy, same old Navy. I'm going to take the midshipmen. What do you think?
I'm going to take Arizona State in this one. They have a blemish, losing to Missouri, but Navy, after what I saw out of them this past weekend, I don't know. Not seeing it. All right, David, rapid fire. Let's get through some of these here. Alamo Bowl, San Antonio, Texas, and Oregon State. What do you got?
Oregon State. The Beavers have been more consistent. I like their Whataburger strategy.
Okay, I like it. I think Oregon State wins with defense. Oregon State certainly better than TCU, West Virginia, teams that Texas lost to. Taking the Beavers there in that one. All right, Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, TCU, and Michigan State team that still has a great defense but an atrocious offense.
They do. Their offense couldn't score if nobody was defending. I'm going to take TCU just because they can put points on the board.
Okay, sounds good to me. I'm going to take TCU as well. Music City Bowl. We're moving into the New Year's Eve Bowls now. NC State and Vandy, basically playing at home.
Right. I've got to take Vandy on this one. More consistent, good defense, pretty balanced offensive attack. NC State, the only win that they have that's worth anything, Florida State, 17-16. Outside of that, they're a pretty bad team.
Yep. You look at NC State, they lost to Tennessee and Virginia. If you lost both of those games, you're not going to beat Vandy.
No, I don't think so.
The Sun Bowl in El Paso, USC, Southern California, that is, and Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, second most unimpressive win list if you ever look them down. Georgia Tech's pretty terrible. They have not been able to generate a ton of offense. USC, while they've had a down year, still really talented. I'm taking the Trojans.
Okay, sounds good to me in that one. I'm taking USC as well to get Matt Barkley back. Georgia Tech's been giving up touchdowns left and right. Definitely not going to change for them here in this one. USC, not where they'd like to be, but good enough for them. All right, let's move on to the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Iowa State, and Tulsa.
Yeah, Iowa State does not have the tough defense that they were known for last year. Kind of went soft, 98th ranked. Tulsa's defense, much better than that. They've got pretty good offense. I'm actually going to go with the upset and take Tulsa.
I think I'm going to take the upset here, too. Tulsa, a much worse schedule, but in my opinion, a better team.
I think so.
That's where we're going with that. The Chick-fil-A Bowl, this one's intriguing. LSU and Clemson. I think Clemson's going to get some yards, but in my opinion, LSU wins this one on the ground.
I think they do, and I think they also win on accident. They'll accidentally kick a field goal with no time left.
Seems likely.
Just because they can't manage the clock. So LSU by 3.
Yeah, a good matchup, though. This is
good
very
job,
solid.
bowl guys.
Chick-fil-A Bowl always has a pretty solid matchup.
I think
on the
so.
field, so. All right, the Gator Bowl, Mississippi State and Northwestern. A little intriguing to me.
I think it is. Mississippi State really got exposed at the end of the year when they actually played the meat of their schedule, lost almost all of those games, even the one to Ole Miss. Northwestern's defense, kind of middle of the road, but I think they're going to be much better on offense. I think Northwestern takes control and wins this one by 10.
Okay, interesting. Kind of a different flavor here in this one. We're used to high-flying Northwestern teams. Mississippi State has a significantly higher average passing offense than Northwestern does.
They do.
Northwestern more of a running team this year. They've been able to get some pretty good rushing stats, but those have not been against SEC teams. Say what you will about Mississippi State. I think they got a pretty good defense capable of stopping Northwestern at least, so I'm going to take the Bulldogs in that one. We'll see how that goes. A couple more for us to run through here. The Heart of Dallas Bowl, obviously in Dallas. Purdue, Oklahoma State. Any chance for Purdue?
No, they're terrible. They shouldn't be in a bowl. Their strongest win was against Iowa. That's sad.
Okay, yep. Probably the same feelings on the next one here. Usually Capital One Bowl, pretty good matchup. This year, Georgia and Nebraska. Yeah, not happening for Nebraska. No
Nebraska just got clubbed. They'll get clubbed again.
No way. Not happening for them. The Outback Bowl, South Carolina and Michigan. I like it.
Okay. Michigan's only chance is to get Denard Robinson in some positions that South Carolina hasn't seen. Other than that, South Carolina dominates on defense, scores when they have to. South Carolina by a mile.
I think Michigan can keep it close for a while, but eventually I think the superior talent on defense for South Carolina, and more so probably conditioning, is going to show through.
Definitely.
I think South Carolina probably takes that one pretty handily. Let's move on to the Cotton Bowl. This is a really good matchup. Texas A&M, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Really tough game to call. Good offenses on both sides. Enough defense to get them through. I can't go against Heisman winner, so I'm taking Texas A&M.
Yeah, people have been saying this is a really great matchup, and I think it is. It's probably one of the better ones, but let's not forget that Oklahoma has not been Oklahoma this year. I mean, they
haven't, but they've still won enough games.
They have. They've done okay against the slate that they play, but in my opinion, what I saw out of Texas A&M this year, they only lost to teams with top defenses. I mean, losing to LSU, losing to Florida, those are not things to be ashamed of.
Right.
Oklahoma does not have a top defense.
No, they don't.
So I think Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M probably going to run away with that one.
You want to try to get these other ones just real rapid fire?
We'll do this.
Okay.
We'll do the Compass Bowl and the GoDaddy.com Bowl, because
Okay.
a lot of people are excited about that. And then we're going to fold the BCS Bowls into our BCS Championship preview. What do you think about that?
I love it.
That's just how things roll here on Outputting Our Coverage. But we certainly don't want to leave you without talking about the Birmingham Bowl, because we know everyone's going to it. Pittsburgh is going for the third straight year.
They are.
And they're playing Ole Miss this year, who is probably pretty excited to be there.
They probably are. Ole Miss, good. Congratulations, you just won. You're playing a team who couldn't beat Youngstown State.
Ole Miss, a far superior team to Pittsburgh. And, of course, the GoDaddy.com Bowl, Kent State and Arkansas State. 2 words, artist formerly known as Gus Bus.
Right. So Malzahnless, Arkansas State, you will get destroyed because you don't have a coach. Kent State's actually a pretty good team.
They don't have a coach either. Their coach left for Purdue.
They did, but they're good anyway. I mean, they just run the ball. They have 2 running backs who had over 1,500 yards.
I don't really care enough to argue with you. I'm picking Arkansas State, but whatever.
Kent
It doesn't.
State.
It's the GoDaddy.com.
Golden Flashes.
Who cares? It's in Mobile. Go watch it if you'd like. Make sure we will not have a show next week. I'm going to be out of town. Not a whole lot to talk about, but we will definitely have a BCS preview before all those games go down. 2 weeks. Tune in for that one here on Outputting Our Coverage.